Okay, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of microbeads. I want to start out by telling you that I got interested in this subject because of my youngest son, Daniel. He's very interested in recycling and all kinds of environmental issues. I'm not even sure actually how the subject came up one day, but we got on the subject of microbeads, and he was telling me how bad they are for the environment and that they're actually made of plastic. I always knew that there were microbeads in the stuff that I washed my face with, but I never knew that they were made of plastic. I always just assumed they were like a naturally biodegradable substance, but that is unfortunately not the case. Microbeads are the tiny little plastic spheres that are in your face washes and your body washes. And according to Wikipedia, in the United States, a microbead is defined as less than 5 millimeters at its largest point. Most are 2 millimeters or smaller, or most of the stuff that's in your body washes and face washes are no bigger than a grain of salt. They're what gives the cleansers that you use their gritty texture. The uses for microbeads, they're used in body washes and facial cleansers. They scrub out dirt and remove the dead skin cells. They're also used in toothpaste to help whiten your teeth, but sometimes, like in chewing gum and in toothpaste, as you can see here, they're just the little beads of color that they use just to add color to the product. They don't always serve a specific purpose. They're used mainly as exfoliating agents, which they do work for that purpose, so that would be the pro, really, that we're talking about. What are microbeads made of? They're made mostly of oil-based or petrochemical plastics. Polyethylene is the most common. That's what they make like your plastic bags and whatnot out of, but they can be made of polypropylene or polystyrene. And without special treatment, these substances are not biodegradable, so they start to accumulate in the environment. How many microbeads are in a product? In one tube of face wash, like the ones that you see here, there can be over 300,000 microbeads. In a 7-ounce bottle of product, almost 3/4 of 1 ounce is nothing but microbeads, which are in the little containers down here in the bottom. There are several thousand products on the market right now, over 3,000, that contain microbeads. And if we click on this link, hopefully it opens. Maybe. You have the mouse? It just shows a small sample of some of the products that have microbeads in it. This is from Beat the Microbead, which is a website that you can go to. They have all different kind of information about microbeads out there on that particular site. According to a 2014 February article in the Huffington Post where they spoke to a Dr. Jalliman, who is a dermatologist in the state of New York, the biggest reasons that these microbeads are an environmental issue is people's lack of knowledge. Much like in my own case, I was not aware that there was plastic in what I was using to wash my face with. I just assumed that it was product that was biodegradable and washing down the drain and everything was good. Microbeads are not chemically reactive to the skin either, so the lack of sensitivity to the skin may be the reason why people just don't really realize that they're harmful to the environment. The dangers to the environment. Microbeads wash down the drains and into the water system. Most community water purification systems cannot filter them out because they're so small, so they flow through the whole system. They don't get caught anywhere or filtered out. Fish and other marine animals, because of the size and shape of them, mistake them for food and they eat them. They can also absorb insecticides, oils, and other hydrocarbons that are known to or suggested to cause cancer. So when those items are consumed by the fish and then we eat the fish, we're taking those things back into our own bodies. Pollution of the Great Lakes due to microbeads. Studies in the Great Lakes showed high levels of microplastics with the highest concentration in Lake Erie, as Erie is the most populous of the lakes that they tested. They tested Erie, Huron, and Lake Superior. At 21 points along those lakes, they collected water samples. And in 2 Out of the 8 samples collected on Lake Erie between Erie County and Detroit, were in just 2 of those samples alone was 85% of all the microplastics that were found in the whole study. An average of 43,000 microbeads per square kilometer, and the highest concentration in one study was 466,000 microbeads per square kilometer. According to the New York State Attorney General, nearly 19 million tons of microbeads are washed out into their freshwater system every year. And in a 2015 report by the same Attorney General's office, 25 of 34 of their New York sewage treatment plants in their final effluent water, which is the water that flushes out into the system, there were microplastics found in the tributaries that go out to Lake Ontario and Lake Erie. There was a new federal law passed, which is called the H.R. 1321 Microbead Free Waters Act of 2015. It was signed into law by President Obama on December 28th of 2015. So the productions of microbeads are to cease by July 1st, 2017, and sales have to end by July 1st, 2018. Some laws have already passed their own microbead legislation, though, before this went into effect. All of these states, California, Colorado, all on the list, passed their own legislation in 2015 with effective dates of product to cease sales by 2018. In California, the product cannot even contain biodegradable microbeads. There's no microbeads at all. Erie County in New York initiated the first local ban in New York State in August of 2015 with an effective date of February 2016. There are natural alternatives to microbeads: rice, apricot seeds, walnut shells, powdered pecan shells, and bamboo. So there are alternatives to the exfoliating agents you use. And there's even an app for your smartphone. It's called Beat the Microbead app by the North Sea Foundation and the Plastic Soup Foundation. I downloaded it on my phone. It does work. It takes, like, you can scan the barcode item, it turns green if there's no microbeads, it turns red if there are beads in it, and if it has a product that is not on the list, then you can add it so it shows up on the list for in the future. And that's that. I just want to thank you all for coming, and I hope you learned something about microbeads that you didn't know before.